So there was I, a new councillor on Mole Valley Council. So what did I do? Well, I was fortunate that one of the main concerns of the District Council was housing and homelessness, which has been my concern for most of my adult life. But Mole Valley is in the middle of Surrey, one of the most affluent counties in one of the most affluent countries in the world, but surely there's no housing problems in Surrey. Don't you believe it? Soon after I was elected at the council, I had a telephone call from a young family who lived in a small caravan on the slopes of Box Hill. It was a small caravan which was damp and wet because it had been flooded and the greedy landlord had let it before it had dried out properly. There was a young couple with a 7-month-old baby. The baby had had bronchitis 3 times in its short life due to the damp conditions. I'd gone along to visit in the winter. The pipes had frozen and they'd been feeding the baby on melted snow. The husband had had a modest job as a painter and decorator in a nearby village, but the bus service had been taken off, so he had lost his job and was unemployed. And they were paying more in rent for that small, damp caravan than I was paying in the mortgage for my 4-bedroom detached house. So I went along to the council and said, "You've got to do something about this family. You've got to rehouse them." Oh, they said, "They haven't got enough points." I said, "Not enough points? What about the baby?" They said, "The baby's less than a year old, doesn't count as a person, doesn't have a housing need." Now, all the time that sort of injustice existed, it gave me all the motivation I needed to try and do something about it. The council chamber was a lonely and hostile place, particularly when you were a member of a smaller party. Meeting for worship was just the opposite. It was loving and supportive, and it gave me the strength to go forward and reaffirm my commitment. I spent 10 years as a councillor, and then I gave up to concentrate on my concern of housing and homelessness. And through the Quakers, I spent 6 years as clerk of the housing group. And this was what you might call the political side. We were trying to work with other churches, to inform our Quaker colleagues, to put pressure on MPs and Parliament to try and change the legislation so that people who did need accommodation at affordable rents might have a better chance of finding it. And at the same time, I was trying to combine the political with the practical side, and I was treasurer and trustee of the Quaker Housing Trust, where we had some funds, where we were able to help put some money towards projects which had some Quaker involvement, which did provide affordable rented accommodation. So I felt comfortable that I was trying to combine the political and practical and working on something which I believe was important. The council was frustrating, it could be stressful, and it was my faith that kept me going. Well, that and a few other things. John was a school caretaker. He worked and lived at the school, and one winter he slipped on the frozen steps and broke his back and was confined to a wheelchair. So he lost his job and he lost his home. And when he contacted me, he and his wife had been allocated accommodation by the council in a flat on the top floor of a block with no lift. So he was virtually trapped. So I said to the council, "Look, you've got to do something about John, got to put him in better accommodation." Oh, they said, he was lucky we didn't have to house him at all. He's below retirement age with no dependent children. Anyway, John and I worked together for some time, and eventually he was allocated a bungalow specially adapted for disabled people. And I shall always remember that telephone call one Saturday morning. "Hello, Colin, it's John. I'm in the new bungalow." "Oh, that's great, John. What's it like?" "Colin," he said, "it's like heaven."